Hello and welcome to the Crone Zone. I'm Lynn. When we finish the video today, we will have covered all 78 of the cards in the tarot decks. That's quite an achievement. And if you've stayed with me all the way through, and congratulations and thank you. So we finish the set now by looking at the kings. And as I've said before, when we're considering the kings and the queens, although they can relate to men and women, it's better to think of them as energies, as modes of operation, of behavior traits, if you like, than actually think of them as gendered as such. Now, we're going to look at the kings as a fixed energy astrologically. You'll recall the queens were cardinal. Some time ago, when we looked at the pages, we considered how they were different to the aces. And I think often it can be confusing to people when a king or a queen of the same suit comes up in a reading. It can be difficult for them to think, well, what's the difference there between those? What does it mean? So that's what we're going to explore today. So let's dive in and look a little more closely at the kings as this fixed energy, because I think that's going to give us an important route into understanding. To explore the notion of the fixed signs of the zodiac, I want to return to two cards we've dealt with before, and those are the Wheel of Fortune and the World. These are significant here because both cards show the fixed signs of the zodiac in their corners. In the top left of each card is the angel or human figure, which is Aquarius, fixed air. Top right on both is the eagle, Scorpio, fixed water. Bottom left on each is the lion, Leo, fixed fire. And bottom left is the bull, Taurus, fixed earth. Why are these qualities so important on these cards? I think it's because they hold the energy of their suit and element steady. They are like portals that fix the energies. And when things are fixed and stable and steady, their energy is reliable and doesn't fluctuate. When the Wheel of Fortune turns, and it will do so whether we want it to or not, make no mistake, the idea of these potential fixed elements of earth, air, fire, and water that we can draw on and use as resources is very important. Noticeably on the fortune card, the Wheel of Fortune card, the elements are in an angelic form. They have wings. But we very much need to draw down the stability of the elements and of the different suits. They're the materials that we use in the world. When we come to the world card, you'll see that, in fact, the energies have very much landed. They're no longer wearing wings. They're energies that are being drawn upon, earthed, and used. And of course, when we get to the court cards, personified as well. So the fixed energies here relate to the kings. Let me just go through that. So the air king, or the king of swords, would be the fixed sign of Aquarius. The eagle would be fixed water, the cups king, and that would be Scorpio. The lion would be fixed fire, and the sign for that is Leo. And the bull is fixed earth, the most fixed of the fixed. And the king for that would be King of Pentacles, and the astrological sign would be Taurus. Now, I want to just talk a little bit here about this number 4 and the fact that you can see these fixed energies giving a supportive scaffolding to the victory laurel of completion that is the world. I'm not going to talk too much about that card. I've covered it before in previous videos. You can always go back and look at that. But this is the completion, the successful completion of a cycle. And it's clear that those fixed energy portals play a very important role in success. Let's look at this a little more closely, and also at the significance of the number 4. 4 is, of course, the number of the emperor, and the kings on their thrones are like the emperor on his. They enact the qualities of the emperor in the manner of their different suits, using the emperor-like qualities of authority, power, control, structure, and stability. The emperor is a force in the world, and so are the kings. So we'll take a look at the kings now. And for clarity, I think we should look at each king with the queen of that suit at his side and look at the difference in the images, because as always, for me, the image supplies a great deal of insight and clarity. The King of Swords. Something which jumps out when the images are side by side like this is the manner in which the king holds his sword. As with the queen, the entire sword is now on view. The queen, though, appears to rest her sword on the arm of the throne. It is perfectly upright and in stasis. The king, in contrast, holds a sword in an active fashion, as if he's going to use it directly. He sits facing us, looking at us. He is engaged with us. The world is his concern. Possibly the queen is engaged in a more abstract function, an abstract academic thinking function. She wears a cloak of clouds, and the king a cloak of purple, which signifies earthly power, as does the ring which he wears on the finger of his left hand, on the finger known as finger of Saturn, which denotes structure and earthly power. And there are fewer clouds around him. He doesn't seem to be part of the stratosphere in quite the way the queen is. In fact, his background banner defines him. There are fewer clouds around. The queen, in contrast, has a background of open sky. In some sense, the queen reminds me of an aerial, catching, generating, receiving thought, which fits with her role as a dynamic initiator, a generator, a nurturer of thought. With the king, the thought seems more solidified. When thought is fixed, it runs in systems and obeys rules and laws. And you will often find this card signifying an expert advice in some field. It will be governed by factual, well-researched evidence. It will abide by rules and limits that are set within that system. You might be looking at a tax consultant, a legal advisor, somebody who can get your work visa sorted out for you, or an operative of the law, whatever. But there will be little leeway here. The advice that you receive will be precise, it will be exact, it will be useful, it will be excellent, it will be expert. But if you fall on the wrong side of the King of Swords, that sword is going to come down and slice. It's black or it's white, it's this or it's that, it's not both. This cuts through ambiguities. So it's a fantastic energy if it's serving you. If you're on the wrong side of it, you're not likely to be given any leeway. The rules are the rules. The King of Wands sits in 3/4 view, and in this pairing we can see that he seems a lot less intent on engaging personally with us than the Queen. He's fierier than the Queen too in his presentation. His hair is redder, his gown is a colour of flame, and he wears a crown of golden flames. There is a richness to his cloak, and he wears a decorative amulet around his neck. The crooking of his left elbow shows command and confidence, but it's the wands, I think, which give it away. The Queen's wand rests on her plinth, whereas the King's strikes on the ground. The Queen has much personal power and enthusiasm, but with the King, the fire is fixed and he is directly sending it into the wider sphere. He's confident to make a stand. He's assured and charismatic. So the King of Wands is about visionary leadership. Someone who is unafraid to stand out, stand alone, and lead the way, and hold the energy of fixed fire. The King of Wands is bold, ambitious, and creative. He might be a political activist, somebody breaking new ground in his field, the kind of person who, will be shooting off into space or launching something way, out there, and which takes self-belief, which takes courage, which takes confidence. There's a lot of charisma to this king energy, and that is rather like a Sun King phenomenon that attracts followers. This is a natural leader. This is somebody that, for better or worse, people want to get behind. They're attracted to him, to his confidence and his success. The King of Cups presents quite differently to the Queen. The Queen is immersed in the water element. She's highly intuitive, psychic, empathic, deeply creative and sensitive, but her gaze is inwards. The King of Cups looks clearly forwards and outwards into the world. We can drown in the empathy and sympathy of the Queen. The King energy swaps these qualities for a more detached compassion. It is interesting that he is unanchored on turbulent waters, but appears to float perfectly above them on his solid throne. He is stable and fixed in an ever-changing element. This is the rare ability to master emotions without suppressing them. There is great insight and depth to this king. The King of Cups brings us the gift of being effective in the world whilst having compassion and emotional integrity. He is very much a part of the world, involved in its comings and goings, symbolised by the ship in the background. He holds the cup of water, of emotion, but also the sceptre of power. The King of Cups could symbolize a therapist, a healer, a counselor, doctor, minister of the church, or someone in whatever profession who goes about his life with a wisdom that people sense and trust. The King of Cups energy is something that we badly need in our world. It's this ability to honour and understand at some depth the emotions not only of the self but of others. So there's emotional intelligence here, as well as a sound grasp of worldly matters. So very much a good blend and one that we need. Let's look at the difference between the King and Queen as they appear here. The Queen of Pentacles has a far simpler and more natural appearance, and she is linked and shown to be part of nature, and she looks down lovingly at the pentacle. The King, in contrast, holds it in an assured manner. His garments are very rich, and the pattern on them is of grape harvest and fruition. He's positively festooned around with abundance. The castle in the background and wall behind him contrast with the natural background of the Queen. He's concerned with stability and sustaining what he has and securing his kingdom. A clue to this is the fact that an armoured foot, just like one of the Emperor's feet, peeps out beneath his velvet gown. He is the only one of the kings who wears armour, and this shows a fierce protective instinct here to defend his own and what's his. The quality of the King of Pentacles is not so much that of leadership as a managerial quality. She denotes excellent business sense and likely to be involved in things like financial markets, pardon me, property, things that are commerce, things that are very solid and often which will bring in financial rewards. The other aspect to this card is that when it appears in a reading, it can be showing you a very successful material outcome to a situation. You know, it's a very good conclusion to things if you end up with this prime manifester and all of this abundance. So, to conclude, we need to think of kings and queens as co-regent energies. Nothing gets off the ground without the cardinal energy of the queens. If you want to stabilize and stretch your stuff in the world, then you're needing the king energy. So most succinctly then, queens, cardinal, initiate, grow, create. Kings, fixed, stabilize, hold power, structure. There we have it in a nutshell. I hope that's useful, and when they come up and they're a king or queen of the same suit, it gives you an idea of the different kind of energy that is there. Okay, so next time I'm going to actually do a couple of readings and show you some of the ways that the court cards operate when they come up in a bit of a spread. So we'll look at that. I look forward to seeing you again then, and just say goodbye for now.